Welcome to the all-new revamped KitchDesigner. In this video, we will quickly run through all of the new features you should be aware of. Ready, set, go. First is free end tags. You can now create all of your tags with free ends instead of attached ends using this setting in the annotation tags. On the spare number tab, you can now set the location where all of your new spare numbers will be created. Want to put them in the middle of this convection oven? Use the picker, select the location, and specify the offset height. Next, it is possible to only tag the selected items. Create a selection set and use our tag tools and only tag the selected families. Next, we will go over the new MEP tools. On the electrical tab, we added default rules. Click the Restore Default Rules button and select Roughin Rules. And KitchDesigner will automatically load in default rules and the 3D Roughin families that go with them. This will help you understand how rules should be created. But you can also press the plus sign to create your own rules per whatever placement settings and whichever families you want to place. To do this, you first select a condition, select a parameter, select a logical operator, and specify a value, and then specify the families that you would like to place. The left side places Roughins, the right side places connection points. One rule can place Roughins, and it can place connection points. If you set up a Roughin and a connection point in the same rule, then you can select a line type to connect the two together with the Connect Roughins tool. Clicking this button in the bottom right corner changes to show you the placement settings. Here, you're able to click and select different placement settings for your Roughins or your connection points. There are 6 different options, and you can change the dimension that allows your Roughins to get placed into a wall. And finally, when you have letter symbols, such as J's for junction boxes, you can use this setting at the bottom to rotate your J's when a certain parameter is true. We will show you how this works now. We're going to delete our rule, and we're just going to use the default rules. Let's press save and place some Roughins. Keep in mind, this project didn't have to have any of the families that are getting placed right now. They were all loaded when we restored the default rules. "59 Roughins are placed, single outlets and junction boxes. They come with our Roughin height parameter, and as you can see, our J's are rotated so that the J is upright, and they're using our default placement settings. To tag our Roughins, use the Tag All Electrical tool. Once again, you can only select certain items and only tag those items if you would like. And that's how you place electrical Roughins, with no families required. Let's go back into settings and show the plumbing Roughins. Again, we'll use the Restore Default Rules to load in all of our 3D plumbing Roughin families. And for plumbing, we're going to use something called combination rules. We'll again load in these using the Restore Default Rules. Combination rules allow us to place only one family in place of 2, such as a hot, cold, and direct family for hand sinks, or a hot and cold family instead of hot and cold water for faucets. Let's press save, and now we'll place our plumbing Roughins. Once again, this project didn't have to have any of these 3D Roughin families installed in it. When we restored the default rules, it loaded in all of those 3D families and the rules that place them. And once again, you can see that all of our C's and H's have been rotated when they're sideways so that they stay upright. Cold water, faucet, and so on. We're missing our indirect waste for our sinks, but those are connections. So let's add plumbing connections. Again, these plumbing connections were set up with our default rules. And there you go. You can see all of our indirect waste are now located on our sinks, our dishwashers, even our walk-in fridges. This has been a demo of the default rules for our plumbing Roughins. Next, let's clear out all of our rules And let's load in our default rules for connection points. Connection points are generic annotation families. And the way they work is they use connectors that are inside of each family. So when families have connectors, a certain rule places a hot water generic annotation, and when those same families do not have connectors, we place the same hot water generic annotation. The only difference is the location that it is placed, but it is set up so that you never get duplicate connection points. You don't need to worry about combination rules when you're doing connection points. They are only for Roughins. So now let's go back to our plan. We'll delete out all of our Roughins, and let's add our connection points. As you can see, it gives us a similar result. All of our indirect wastes are placed over our sinks, and our hot and cold is placed over our faucets. When we are ready to tag our connections, we use the Tag Plumbing Connections tool. First, we have to set up our tags for our plumbing connections. Tagging connection points is a little bit different. It's actually placing specialty equipment tags on the family that has the connection points. So it's tagging each family with a specialty equipment tag that contains connection points. This has been a demo of the default connection point rules. Next, we're going to show you the default electrical connection points. Once again, we'll use our Restore Default Rules button and select Connection Point Rules. We're just going to be placing junction boxes and single receptacles. Back to our electrical plan. We'll delete out all of our Roughins. And using the Add Electrical Connection tool, we'll place all electrical connection points. Families built correctly with connectors are wonderful to use with the connection point tools. All of the generic annotations are placed exactly at this location where the MEP connects to the piece of equipment. And once again, all of these symbols are coming with our Restore Default rules. We place 77 electrical connectors. You'll see J's for junction boxes, and you'll see our single receptacle symbols. Moving around the kitchen, you can see if I click this connection oven, here's where the electric connects. Let's tag our electrical connections. Once again, we need to set up our electrical connection tag, and then press the Tag Electrical Connection button. And that is how you create connection points with our default connection point rules. Now let's see some of the finer points when you create your own rules. When you select two different Roughins to be placed, a Roughin threshold will appear. This determines which will be placed. If your Roughin height is above this dimension, this Roughin will be placed. If it's below this dimension, this Roughin will be placed. On the connection point side, you need to select a generic annotation family. If you don't have one, you can use Create New at the bottom to create your own generic annotation. Here you can type in letters, you can change your shape, you can select your size. A tooltip will show you how big they will be in 1/4 inch scale. You can type in your subcategory. You can even select a color and a thickness. And then give your generic annotation a name. Press Create, and you can quickly begin using your generic annotation immediately. Same goes for wiring. That's used with the Connect Roughins tool. Here you can press Create New. You can type in a line style name, select the thickness, and select the pattern. Press Create and you can immediately start using that wiring type. To show you how the Connect Roughin tool works, we're going to load in the Roughin rules again. And as you can see, Over here we're placing hot water roughins, and on the right side we're placing hot water connections, and we're connecting them together with a water connection line type. So let's see how this works. Press save, go back to our plumbing plan. Remove our plumbing connection points, and now we're going to add plumbing roughins. And then we're going to add plumbing connection points. And then we're going to connect them together. And here you go. Here's our roughin, here's our connection point, and here's our arc that connects it together. If this roughin location is not optimal, we can move our roughin and press the connect roughin tool again, and our field piping or field wiring will change. Next up is MEP devices. MEP devices allows you to specify some of your families, such as convenience outlets, oriental pool stations, or beverage conduits, and in plumbing, floor sinks, area floor drains, open site drains, and gas manifolds, just to name a few. Press save, and now you have some new buttons that are active on your ribbon. Click these buttons, and you can quickly place all of your different families. Finally, we have the Create Faucet tool. This is one of our new Kitch Creator tools. It's on a separate tab at the top called Kitch Creator. Press Create Faucet, and a form will be displayed. This is a live Revit preview of the faucet that you're creating. Go ahead and click through the form, create the faucet that you would like, select any base and any spout, select options, change the spout depth. A custom model number will be created at the bottom, which you can rename, and then press create. This Revit family will be programmatically created and sent to your project. We hope you are excited about the new features coming out in this new revamped version of KitchDesigner. If there are some features that you still want to see that we haven't talked about yet, please shoot us a message. We always want to hear from you, and we always want to keep building features that you love. Still a great looking faucet. That's all, guys. Thanks.